Hi, Carlo. Welcome to BizTalk. It's my great pleasure having me today. How are you?
Hello, Massimiliano. Thanks for having me. Buongiorno. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's start talking about yourself and your business idea.
My name is Carlo. I am the co-founder and CEO of EdilGo, which is an innovative solution aimed at automating the construction industry. And so I came up with an idea, which is EdilGo, which basically helps companies to fight two problems. One is the low margin problem. So the fact that in construction, the average profit margin is of about 2%. And the other one is related to the fact that nothing has changed over the years. And by nothing, I mean that processes have remained the same. There are no new tools, no new technological tools that companies can use to improve their overall business. And so EdilGo is basically a SaaS-enabled marketplace. So on one side, we have the SaaS solution, which is an e-procurement platform dedicated to improving the procurement process. And on the other side, we have the marketplace, which is a network of suppliers who get in touch with these potential clients. So we developed a unique machine learning algorithm, which uses NLP, so natural language processing, that basically transforms project information, project data, into actual requests for offers, already divided into product categories that then can be sent to a vast network of suppliers.
Thank you, Carlo. Thank you very much. It's been very precise and very in time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, before starting, we all know how the construction environment is very old-fashioned when it comes to technology. I mean, my question is how difficult has been the market adoption?
Well, we sort of realized it later on that we couldn't simply develop something and sell it to clients that never used a solution like ours. So we had to take a step back and just start educate our clients. So we started creating some webinars, we did some events, and we also created partnerships with the most important construction association all over the country that could give trust to these people. So when they start giving you trust, they start realizing the potential of your solution, and then they start using it. But just consider the fact that we launched in March of 2020. So during the most difficult period in the last maybe 50 years. And in just over 2 months, we gathered more than 600 companies using our product, because this really bad period helped them to digitize and start transforming their company. So they started using Google Meets or Zoom to interact with their suppliers. And so our solution was the only way for them to actually collaborate in a really efficient way in the purchase department.
How does your customer journey works exactly? How do you approach them? How they use your platform exactly? How is the onboarding?
Yeah. So we have both an online approach and a more traditional and sales rep approach. So on the online part, we do some online advertisement. We have our social media channels that help us, deliver the message to a specific target. And once these people get in touch with our ads, with our website, then they start asking for a demo. So if we're talking about a construction company, before actually using the product, they need to request a demo, because this helps us to understand the actual requirement of that company. And then once they do the demo, they have a 3 weeks free trial period in which they start using the product. So they start discovering it. Of course, we are at their disposal. We help them anytime, but we also have, you know, online tutorials to just try to automate this support phase. And then once they finish their free trial, they simply activate their subscription and they just use it on their own. On the offline part, it's a little bit longer because the sales cycle takes more time. So this is a channel that we are still trying to understand whether it's really that useful for us. But basically, we do some cold calls to construction companies that we identify on the market. We tell them how our solution works. And then the process follows the more online approach. So if they're interested in the demo, we do the demo, etc., etc., etc.
Regarding the business model, you have
yeah.
SaaS model, but you're charging only one side, okay? The construction.
Exactly.
You had two clients, yeah, the construction and the providers, suppliers, but you are charging only the first one. How in your mind you can go one day to charge them, and how you make sure that they are not walking away and closing the deal outside your company? And my second question is, regarding financing, I suppose you talk about something close to lending, factoring, or as well, something similar.
Exactly.
How does it work more precisely?
Yeah, so answering the first question, we decided to not introduce a commission fee on the actual transaction because of the problem that you mentioned. So if we start asking suppliers for to give us some sort of percentage on the work that we provide them, they will for sure find a way to, you know, directly get in touch with the builder. And therefore we said, okay, since we are also a network, putting economic barriers at the entrance will not allow us to grow as fast as we want. So we said, okay, for now, it's not the best option in terms of revenues, but one day, once the network is huge, and consider the fact that by the end of this year, we will get to 15,000 suppliers registered. So by the end of next year, we will make sure that the network is enough, and then we will start introducing these new revenue streams. But again, they will not be commission-based, but they will be based on more value that we can provide to these customers. So the financial services are for sure the ones that you mentioned. Factoring is the best one. So providing an advance on the payment to the supplier is something that can improve their cash flow management in a terrific way. So they will choose us not because we're just providing them new work, but because we're also the best option for them to improve their cash.
You are based in Italy now. What's going to be the next move? Are you going one day to move outside Italy?
Definitely, yes. So we started from the hardest, as I like to say. Italy is probably the most difficult market to start a business like ours. The construction industry is pretty behind in terms of technological development. But since we're all Italians, so we know how the Italian industry works, we decided to start from here. But then once we get everything right, the next step will be to move in other European countries. The first one being Spain, which is very similar in terms of culture and traditions to Italy. So we will just basically replicate our model in Spain and then go to France, Germany. So we will just make another EdilGo in these countries.
I mean, when it comes to the type of service you're giving to these construction companies, sorry, I'm still a bit sick. It's only about procurement in terms of products, all right? or maybe you can one day procure them also services because they use services as well.
We already provide them with services. So there are four like macro categories that we provide with 120 subcategories. So we cover any type of materials or service that you might need on your construction site. And in terms of service, we offer, for example, the rental of particular tools that you might need on the site. But also professional service like the security on the construction site, or the particular consultant who needs to come to your building to check whether or not things are being made right. So all this type of offering is available on our platform.
You were talking before the legal side.
Yeah.
Which is providing them all the legal support, okay, when it comes to agreements, contracts, and so on. Are you concerned it can create some problem in terms of accountability? I mean, because when we touch legal, there is always something tricky.
It definitely touches that, but through technology, we think that we can, even though we're not entering in the actual transaction, we can make these people's lives more simple. You know, the idea behind the legal part is not to say, okay, I guarantee that this supplier will carry out the work, but it's just a contract that is written through blockchain, and that makes sure that every step of the delivery is followed. Or when the supplier takes the materials to the construction site, the builder does a check on that materials. So you put all of these conditions into your contract, and once the supply is being delivered, or the material is being is in the actual site, then you do all of this check. So this allows you to keep track of all the different steps that are in the contract. And with that, you could also link the payment. So in construction, it's not that you pay, I don't know, like an advance and at the final stage of the delivery, but the payment is divided into phases. So phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So the legal part will be linked to these different payment phases. And once the first step is done, then you can unlock the first payment. And this goes for all the different steps that you have entered into your contract.
One more question, two more questions. As, let's say, a construction company buy all the materials from you, okay?
Yeah.
Via your service. What about having a customer relationship management tool that where they can actually, in your platform, understanding when they are short or maybe too long with materials, if they need to buy, if they don't need to buy? I'm thinking something like another service you can give. And also, we know how heavily is insurance in construction, especially with us public construction in Italy. Are you going to partner with an insurance in this case?
It might be. So the really cool thing about EdilGo is that it's an actual platform, and a platform is something where which can be linked to many different things. Of course, the main goal is to provide something that is for the construction industry. So we talked about the legal, we talked about the financial. Insurance could just be another service that we can provide to these people. So yes, we could definitely do that. It's all based, like, our strategy is based on actual needs from our clients. We do not develop things that for the moment aren't as useful as something else for them. So we interview them on a monthly basis to understand whether or not the direction that we're taking is right. Because having knowledge about your clients' needs makes your business successful. So it allows you to develop solutions that are being used. And that's the most important thing that we need to do right now.
Absolutely. Service provided, and they are not necessary, they are not service, because they are not used.
Well, it's not that they're not being used, they're for sure being used, but when we interviewed some of our builders, but also suppliers, we talked to them about the insurance services, and they didn't say it was a priority for them having this type of products, because they prefer talking to their insurance company. They have, type of relationships that they don't want to change right now. But once they realize that EdilGo can offer you better deals, I'm sure that they will choose us.
I do believe so. What's the idea when it comes to scaling? How do you scale EdilGo? Which is the most difficult part in a startup?
It is the most difficult part. Well, we're now trying to create standalone products. So we focus our resources on creating an entire solution that goes from A to Z. But now we're looking at a much bigger market, which is composed by 90% of small businesses. And I'm talking about businesses that have a turnover from 500K to about 2 million euros. So for this type of companies, our solution might even be too much for them. So dividing our functionalities in single products could help us create a much more scalable business, because we could sell the first part of the process, so the one in which you create the project details. We could sell the management of the information, so sharing all the project information in one platform with your external or internal collaborators. We, of course, can sell the procurement part, as we're doing now. Then we could sell to the suppliers a tool to identify all the different builders in the market and see where their construction sites are. So, and this opens actually to another big revenue stream that will come in the future, which leverages the data that we are gathering. We are a really data-driven company. So we gather data that tell us everything about the construction industry. Of course, right now we're still small, but once we get enough builders, enough suppliers, and enough data, we will be able to actually make market predictions. So we will know how much any type of material or service is being sold in a particular place or at a particular time. And this information can be sold very easily, because information is money. So not only can be used by our builders or suppliers, they can be used by real estate developers or by banks, by any type of institutions that needs information in order to carry out their operations.
Absolutely. Especially now, we are seeing how difficult it can be these days procuring raw material, commodities.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely nightmare. Increasing 10% price can be it can be absolutely, can destroy any company. 10% increase in cost. So I do believe data-driven prediction makes a lot of sense for any industry and any company. Regarding the price, you say something extremely important in Italy, but not only in Italy. You have some very, very, very big player, huge,
yeah,
or 5, they're absolutely huge. And after you have 10, 15 employees, 5 employees, is the price changing?
Well, I can say that it will change, but it will change based on the product offering that we will have in the coming months. So right now we are seeing a steady growth in terms of revenues, which comes from those companies that have a turnover between 10 million and 20 million euros. So we're talking about still SMEs, but with a a better structure, and an actual purchase department that use our solution. In the future, when we introduce new products, I'm sure that will be some changes in the pricing.
Are you raising funds now?
Well, we are about to open a new investment round of about 2.5 million euros. And this investment will allow us to keep growing in the Italian market. And by the end of next year, start looking at Spain. As I was saying, our next market will be Spain. So the idea is to create new products, test them, make sure that they work, and then replicate our model in a new country.
The IP is, I suppose, all in-house. And
Definitely.
you're talking adoption of blockchain as well.
Well, yes. Actually, one of our advisors is in the Italian Blockchain Association, and he has a broad understanding, a much better understanding compared to myself about blockchain. So he gives us hints about how the future of blockchain will look like. So it's definitely something that we want to explore. I think that blockchain will become part of our everyday life. So if we start looking at it as soon as possible, we will be ahead of it.
I mean, these 2.5 million will be used for what exactly?
In terms of product development, we are, as I was saying, creating new features. So first one is the creation of the bill of materials. So the bill of materials is a document that lists all the materials and services needed to complete a project. And right now, the only solutions available are software that you need to download on your computer and are really complex to use. Our idea is to develop an online tool that anybody can access in a really fast and easy way. They can export it, they can share it with all the collaborators, and of course, they can send it to the suppliers. Then we will move into a more network-based solution. So we are, as I was saying, growing really fast in terms of customers acquisitions. And we will create a tool where people will actually be able to see all the different suppliers or all the different builders available in any type, in any regions of Italy. And this is a product that our customers are willing to pay a lot for. Then we will we will start exploring the legal part, so the blockchain and all the process related to how to link the terms of the contract with the payment. And finally, of course, we will start the integration with some financial providers to start providing the financial service to our customers.
Let me close. Do you have any message for investors? What they should invest in Carlo and in EdilGo, and how do we exit one day?
Well, I would say that we are really passionate about what we do. I'm not the only one that comes from a construction background. Also, my co-founder Roberto is a construction engineer. He's worked for around 10 years in the construction industry, so he knows all about it. And also the rest of the team is really motivated when we work, when we talk, because they see that what we're doing is actually changing the work method of an entire industry. So we are, especially here in Italy, changing the mindset of entrepreneurs that have been working the same way for 30, 40 years. We created a tool that is so simple to use that anybody can use without having technical knowledge. And this differentiates us from any type of solution on the market. So that's the main reason. We're very ambitious.
We add for the exit. I do hope and I do wish you to IPO. That's going to be your exit.
Let's see.
Carlo, thank you very much for coming to BizTalk. It's been a very pleasure with you today.
Thank you so much, Massimiliano. Take care.